Hello teachers, this is the instruction guide for Primary 2, Term 3, Week 11. For this week, there are 3 booklets. The first 2 booklets is on subtraction of fractions, of like fractions. And then the last booklet is on word problem for money. Now, I must say that the last booklet is actually tougher, right, than the first 2, because the first 2 subtraction of like fractions is actually quite straightforward. If students have problem, right, it more has got to do with the different type of questions, the question format, right? So for the first 2 booklets, do focus on demonstrating how the kind of a question format, right, can be done. Okay, so let's start off with introduction of subtraction of like fractions. So for this portion, right, just to take note that there are 2 types of questions. One is when you subtract, right, a fraction from a whole number. Okay, so this is one thing that need to learn it. And then the other one is to subtract a fraction from a fraction. So the example that you see here is to subtract a fraction from a fraction, right? Not a whole number yet. For example, 3/4 of a whole pie, and then somebody eats 2/4, how many left? So again, remind them, just like you cannot add denominators, you cannot subtract denominator with another denominator as well, right? So please remind the students. Okay, so just now earlier on, Mark, is a subtraction of fraction from a fraction. This is a subtraction from a fraction from a whole number. So you got to remind students, because later on you'll see questions. Here, of course, it says 8 out of 8 minus 3 out of 8. That's quite straightforward. Later on, you see questions like 1 minus 3 out of 8. So they have to remember that 1 whole, okay, is the same as 8 out of 8, depending on the fraction that they are going to be subtracted from. Okay, pay attention to that. So we'll look through some of the questions in a bit. Get them to do the guided practice. Okay, so this one is subtraction of a fraction from a fraction. This one is subtraction from a fraction from a whole number, right? So remind them, if it is 1 whole, right, then they got to look, what is 1 whole, right? What is 1 whole given that the other fraction is out of 3 parts? So that's 3 out of 3. Okay, so yep, more practices here. Okay, then after that, I think you can just go straight into getting them to do questions like this, right? In which they have to identify what is a fraction. Is this a whole, right? Is this 9 out of 9, or is it like a 5 out of 9? But in this case, it's a whole. Okay, to write the fraction down and then minus to get the equation. Okay, might want to give them one question on page 8, perhaps E, and then another question from page 9. Right, which is subtraction from a fraction. All right. Now, and then the rest are quite straightforward as well. Again, to introduce them to the concept of fraction bar model drawing. Okay, so here 4 out of 5, sorry, minus 3 out of 5. Okay, what's left? All right, so they have to figure out where is the question mark. All right, and then this is 3 out of 5. Oh, sorry, question mark is provided. They write the equation and then find out what is 1 out of 5. Okay, if they are not sure, might want to get them to do another question. All right, you can demonstrate as well. Okay, but otherwise, I think it's quite straightforward. And then there you go, right? So here, I think it's about counting, right? So another one, 10 out of 12 minus 5 out of 12. They're just going to make sure that they're counting 10 out of 12 parts, and then which is the 5 out of 12 parts. Okay, right, and that's a whole and so on. Okay, let's see. So this is bar model drawing. Okay, so they have to draw a bar model. Here they got to label it. So I would suggest that you do the question on page 15. Show them how to do it. Okay, and then do question A as well. All right, where they need to do learn how to draw the labeling. Okay. All right, let's see. And then we move on. The rest are quite repetitive questions. So perhaps just do one question do. This one I think is quite easy, so you may skip it, right? If you like, there's time, depending on how much time you have. Let's not forget that the third booklet can be quite challenging. Okay, so you might want to do just maybe one question, right? And then after that, we can move on to the second booklet on subtractions or fractions. Okay, so for the second booklet, some of the questions are already done before, so or rather the same question type was covered in the first booklet. For this one, they have to shade, right, the different parts. Okay, subtract 2 out of 7 from 5 out of 7. So they have to subtract, they have to shade the part that the fraction that is being taken away, right? So 2 out of 7, they have to shade 2 out of 7. Get them to do a question, right? A, okay, to make sure that they know what to do, so they can shade any 3 of the 4 parts, right? 3 out of 5, so you can shade any 3. Okay, of course here you can see that it's not shaded yet, but what they should be doing is something like that, right? They can shade 3 out of 5, right? And then you get 1 out of 5. Okay, and after that, I think these are quite straightforward. Okay, you can perhaps do a question on page 9. Okay, remind them 1 whole, you got to convert it into the 10 out of 10 in this case, right? Looking at the denominator. All right, so 1 whole is the denominator. If it is 10, then it'll be 10 out of 10, right? So you got to show this to them. Do 1 question here, subtract 2 out of 5 from this, so they have to write the 2 out of 5 from 3 out of 5, so they have to write the equation. Okay, and then I would say that you skip perhaps do a question on, let's see, question 18. Oh, sorry, not question 18, page 18. All right, question R. Okay, so they have the right equation, 1 whole minus 5 out of 12. If they can get it, that is 7 out of 12, right? Then so be it, right? If not, you got to get them to convert first to 12 out of 12, right? So some of them, they may be able to immediately tell 1 whole is 12 out of 12, right? 12 minus 5 equals 7 out of 12, right? If not, you might want to get them to write down the steps. So 1 whole minus 5 out of 12 equals 12 out of 12 minus 5 out of 12. Okay. All right, then work on at least 1 word problem with them. Okay, so they don't have to draw the model yet. Okay, because it may be a bit time consuming. I think at this point in time, just simply understand what where the subtraction is. Okay, so or where the addition is. So this one is addition, right? So let's do 1 on addition and 1 on subtraction, right? So page 19 and page 20. Okay, and then the rest can be assigned as homework, right? So they can do you might want to do a subtraction story with them as well. Okay, maybe question 9. Okay, now the challenging one is the word problem actually. Okay, here we have to start off with the concept of change. So you might want to spend some time to explain to them what change is. All right, so typically when they buy something, they may not have the exact amount, and they would have to give the shop more than the the value that is more than the actual cost, right? Because sometimes you may not have the actual amount, right? So for example, if you're buying a 70 cents ruler, right? But if you don't have 70 cents, you got to give them $1, right? So the change will be 70 cents or $1 minus 70 cents. Okay, so explain to them concept and then work through all these guided practice with them. I think that's important. All right, get them to show them how to do this, right? Guide them along. Okay, from question 2 of the guided practice onwards, you need to draw out the model for them, right? Show them how to do this. So in this question, Ratna bought a water bottle. She then gave the cashier 2 $10 notes and received $2 change. So they need to find out how much money Ratna gave the cashier first. Ask them, right? So how much money did Ratna give the cashier? 2 $10 notes. Some of them may be able to immediately tell that it's $20. So if that's the case, right, they can just draw a model, a bar that is $20. Okay, and then receive $2 change, right? $2 is the part that's written, and then the other portion will be how much the bottle is. For students who are not able to tell that 2 $10 notes equals to $20, then this bar model may need to be, you need to show them how to draw this. So it depends on the class. Okay, so a bit more challenging question here. Another one, Ray bought some cookies for $13. He gave the cashier some $5 notes and he received $2 notes. So you can see that this require at least 2 steps, right? How much money did Roy give the cashier, right? Because it says here some $5 notes, so you don't know how many. So you need to find out how much money and then find out how many $5 notes, right? That's important, right? It's not about how much money he gave the cashier, but how many notes, how many $5 notes he gave. So the way to do this is cookies, right? $13. Get them draw a model first, and then we don't know how many $5 notes that is. So leave it, put it aside first. But we do know that he received $2 change back. So the cookies cost $13. Right? And then with the change in total, the price will be $15. Some students may get it confused, right? May do $13 minus 2, give 2 bags. No, right? So you got to explain to them that the cookies, the price is $13, but Roy have to pay more because Roy doesn't have the exact change. So it's $13 plus the $2 change. So expect some challenges that students may have when doing this question. So $15, then they need to find out how many $5 are there in $15. So $15 divided by $5. Okay. After that, I would then suggest that you might want to try to get them to do something on their own. But if you think that they are, if you feel that you're not confident that they're able to do this on their own yet, then you might want to continue drawing the model, right, for a few more questions. Okay, so that they can understand how it works. So this might be challenging, and I would suggest that perhaps, let's see, wow, you might want to just, okay, I'm beginning to think that this might be, some of this question, right, might be a bit challenging for a few of them to do. So in that case, shall we do this, right? Let's not do this as, let's not assign this as homework, okay? But you try to take them through as many of these questions as possible, right? Especially the later ones that I find, right, can be quite challenging for some students. Okay, so I leave it to you all. So let's keep this. Definitely you will need to show question 9, right? So don't assign as homework, right? Let's do this in class. Okay, so hence important take note for the first 2 booklets, okay, subtraction of fractions. These 2 you need to submit, you need to assign them as homework, right? You can actually get them to do the everything, right? Since we will not be assigning this as homework, right? Because I'm not too sure how many of them will be able to do this. It's better that we take them through. Okay, all right. So have more practices in class, and it's not necessary to assign the last book as homework. That's it for today.